So, today is Monday, so you know what that means. That means it's time to talk about House of the Dragon, baby. We know the brand new episode of House of the Dragon. I believe it was episode 6. Episode 7? Episode 6, right? Of season 2, and yet again, there's a lot about this episode that I really enjoyed, and a lot that kind of like last week, I'm just sort of scratching my head about. So I'm going to get right into it. Before I start, just a reminder, these are spoiler-filled videos. I want to talk about the stuff that happened in the episode, so if you have not watched it yet, go watch it, come back. So this week's episode was another kind of slow burn of an episode. It's an episode that's taking its time to take this weird little break between big events in the Dance of the Dragons. We're just continuing with these characters and watching them as they're dealing with their situations. We're watching Daemon as he's still dealing with being Prince Regent. How is he handling leadership? How is he handling problems with the small folk of King's Landing? How is he dealing with how he's going to take Harrenhal? There's a lot on his plate, and his relationship with his mother kind of comes to a head here, and there's a lot of good stuff there. We also get to follow more of Jace and Rhaenyra as they're going on this quest to find more dragon riders. We actually get that right away in this episode, where she has one of her King's Guardmen try to claim a dragon. It doesn't work out. This does play out a little bit differently in the books, and I'm not sure if they're eventually going to go this route, but in the books, essentially, Jace puts out a call to everybody in Westeros that they are looking for dragon riders, and they call on bastards and any other people who want to try, and there's kind of like this big kind of, I don't want to say tournament, but it's just a crowd of people that go to try to claim these dragons, and you end up getting a few of them, right? And I feel like the show's not going that route because of something that happens later in the episode, but we'll get to that. But either way, once that dragon's not claimed, they're just kind of like down on their shit, right? Everybody in this episode, everybody in this world, and it's kind of a problem I have with season 2 during this war, there seems to be, it doesn't feel as real or as certain as it has in other seasons of Game of Thrones when it comes to the conflict that's actually transpiring here. Sometimes I feel like this is way too dramatic in a way with these characters and the way they're acting, and a lot of these characters are so stupid that I'm forgetting that there is an entire kingdom of millions of people at stake in these wars. It feels small for some reason. It's something the first season never felt, and even parts of this early season never felt, but this feels small. It feels like each of these characters are in a very small circle, and the world around them is kind of non-existent because we don't really get to see it as of yet. We haven't really seen the impacts of the Dance of the Dragons on everybody else outside of a few glimpses of battle. And Rhaenyra's struggle this season so far in her conflict of just feeling useless, feeling like she doesn't have a place as a leader and nobody listens to her, I think is not really the route that I would have taken. It's not as engaging as what I got out of reading the book with Rhaenyra, is that in the book, she's kind of this grief-stricken mad mother who is pissed and who is waging this war because she's angry, and that is something an audience can really get behind. Here, I feel like it's just not as strong to be like, oh, she's just upset because nobody wants to let her fly on her dragon and go fight battles. Like, who cares? Her character arc here is just not as strong so far, and I hope they eventually get back to what it is in the books, because in the last scene of season 1, when you get that turn, that head turn that she does in the last scene, you get the feeling like, okay, that's the route they're going. We just haven't really seen that yet. We also get more of Daemon, and I'm gonna be honest, this arc is stale. It was stale last week, too. It's like, where are we going with this? So Daemon is still at Harrenhal, still going through these weird fever dreams where he's seeing his past and his present kind of merge, and he's dealing with, what do I actually want to be? Do I want to be king? Why do I want to be king? How do I feel about Rhaenyra? He's dealing with all of this, and you got the weird chick at Harrenhal with him, but I feel like this story has just not really actually moved. We're just retreading and doing the same things that are no longer surprising or cool to see. And we keep getting more glimpses into some of these other characters that I'm assuming, I know, have a bigger future in the show, so I won't get too into it. But, you know, Adam of Hull, we get more of some of the people, the small folk in King's Landing that eventually do have a relatively large storyline going forward. And that's all good and great, but the show is just taking its sweet-ass time to get to that point. We also have Rhaena Targaryen, who's, of course, the daughter of Daemon, and I feel like there's another character that's supposed to appear and has a very large role in the future of this show, and she hasn't appeared yet, and I feel like she would have had to appear by now for it to make sense, and I think they're taking that character out and giving the arc to Rhaena. I don't know how I feel about that yet. A lot of the changes they've made from the book so far don't feel like logical changes, whereas in Season 1 they did. A lot of the changes in Season 1 felt like they were needed to fill some gaps and things that didn't make sense, whereas a lot of the changes in Season 2 so far, I'm questioning the choices here as to why they have changed some stuff. Like, supplanting the character that was in the books and putting in Rhaena, I don't know if that necessarily makes sense yet. Queen Rhaenyra and this random chick who I don't even think is in the books, Mysaria, making out, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And no, not for the reasons that I'm sure everybody's complaining about. I don't care that it's two chicks kissing. Who gives a fuck? My problem is that it came out of nowhere, and like, why? Why would these characters, it doesn't make sense. My reaction to these two characters kissing was my same reaction as to when Kylo Ren and Rey kissed in The Rise of Skywalker. Just like, why? Why is this in here? It's just such a weird scene. It came out of nowhere. Mysaria is a character that I just don't care about, and I don't think anybody really cares about, and I just don't understand this arc that they've decided to go on with Rhaenyra and her that's just not present in the book. And yet again, I'm not going to be one of these people that's like, they gotta stick to the book word for word. It's just the changes that they've made so far don't improve on the story. If anything, they're taking away from the story. And that's what's kind of disheartening so far about the last few episodes. Because this season has kind of taken a weird turn. It has had some of the highest of high moments in Game of Thrones. You have heard me rave about this show all year so far, talking about some of these episodes being so great. But there are also some of these episodes that have been just a big step down, and I don't really know why the quality is shifting back and forth. It's kind of strange, because in Season 1, you didn't really get that. And Season 1 was a season that covered so much more time, so much more story. And this season, I feel like we're just kind of like sitting in place. We're not moving. It doesn't really feel like the realm is at war. Like nothing's really coming together so far. And maybe it will by the end of the season, but yet again, I kind of know where they're going with this. I know where the season's probably going to leave off at this point, and I don't know if that moment is going to feel as satisfying with how they've built up to it. Maybe it will, but my gut feeling is telling me it's not going to. But I hope I'm wrong, but easily this is my least favorite episode of the season so far, unfortunately. It just is. I don't really like how Sea Smoke chose his Dragon Rider at the end. Like, it just feels so dramatic and coincidental, and it doesn't feel as organic as it does in the book. In the book, it's simple. They're all come to Dragonstone, all these people come, and some of them tame dragons. It's simple. It's not out there that this guy was like the chosen one, that the dragon just found him. Like, that to me is just kind of dumb. That's the kind of overdramatic bullshit that made Season 8 of Game of Thrones not very good, where things just kind of happen because of dramatic purposes, scripted TV show reasons. And I don't know how they're going to handle the rest of those characters that may or may not tame dragons. I don't know how they're going to cover a lot of the other stuff that happens, but this is the first time watching the show, I'm a little concerned, because I'm questioning the intentions of the writers here, and how they're actually telling this story, and how much George R.R. Martin might have been involved in some of this stuff. But we'll see. Yet again, I still overall enjoyed this episode. It's better than most stuff on TV, so don't hate on me too much, I guess. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like this video, subscribe for more, turn on notifications. I post every single day. I'll see you in the next one.